Chapter 5. Sorry I'm late. I call as I hurry in with my arms full of bags. Anna jumps up and grabs a couple of the bags, and I follow her to the kitchen. About time, Talia calls. She's already in the kitchen, pulling glasses from the cabinet as Anna hands over the bottles I've brought home. I know I got held up, I tell her. Talia's eyes finally slide to me, taking in my all-black outfit, and her brows lift. Do I even want to know? I bite my lip. Drinks first, I decide. Talia doesn't argue. What can I do to help? Anna asks. Slice the oranges, I tell her, and then we all get to work on mixing the drinks. We've done this often enough the process goes like clockwork, and in almost no time we're all settled in front of our fireplace with drinks in hand, dressed in cozy PJs and slippers. I think this drink gets better every time we make it, Anna says after a sip. We get better every time, Talia corrects. I'll drink to that, I say, lifting my glass in a toast. Anna and Talia raise theirs. To the only midnight kisses we'll even need, Anna says. To you bitches, Talia adds. Hear, hear, I say with a laugh, and we all drink. Ugh, Talia groans after a large gulp. This is exactly what I needed today. That bad, huh? Anna asks. I thought today was your free day, I say. Free from classes, yes, Talia says, sighing loudly. But you know it was time for my monthly meeting with my parents. I spent hours being grilled about school and my extracurricular activities via Skype. Then, as the cherry on that crap Sunday, I had to sit through another hour of being briefed on the company's latest quarterly financials by my father and his attorney, who, by the way, has a voice like Gilbert Gottfried. My brain is totally fried. She takes another gulp, draining half her glass. For the next hour, the three of us commiserate over our college woes, from classes to exams to the stress we feel about transitioning into the real world. In the next few months, it feels good to bitch and complain about life with the people who get it. By the time we finished heckling Anna about her new guy, I'm sufficiently drunk. I know that because my failure from earlier doesn't sting quite so badly. That and the image of Cash standing over me in that hallway, hands propped on the wall, delicious mouth looming, is enough to tempt me in ways that would probably be bad for my health. So, Anna drawls, her southern accent more pronounced after the drinks. Are you gonna tell us about your mystery errand earlier? Both of them turn to look at me. Well, it wasn't so much an errand as an appearance, I hedge, trying to decide how to tell them what happened while avoiding the lecture I'm sure they'll both try to give me. An appearance, Talia echoes, already frowning. But Anna's eyes light up. Wait, like you got together with someone? She leans in. Like a date? Holy shenanigans, Romy. Do you have a guy? She practically squeals, and I wince at her enthusiasm, knowing the truth is only going to upset her that much more. Not exactly. Talia lowers her drink. You were out stalking that werewolf dude, weren't you? Stalking is such a strong word, I say. She rolls her eyes. Anna gasps dramatically, and I glance at her half-filled glass, wondering if I shouldn't cut her off. Oh, Romy, no. Alone? Even after our talk? Please tell me you didn't, she says. Listen, it's not a big deal, okay? I was perfectly fine. Romy, you promised. He could be dangerous, Anna says. Remember the missin' girl from the other day? Well, I heard another girl went missing last night. They both lived on campus. You can't just run around following strange guys around, especially a guy you think killed someone. I was careful, I argue, even though I pretty much just waltzed into that party earlier completely unarmed. I hadn't even thought to carry my mace, though I decide to keep that bit to myself with the way Talia's eyeing me over the rim of her nearly empty glass. I just worry, Anna says, and her voice becomes more of a crooning. Definitely cut off. Don't worry, I'm telling you he won't hurt me, I assure them. Whatever. Listen, I trust that you know what you're doing, Talia says. I blink at her. You do? Sure. She shrugs. Besides, if you get kidnapped, I'll know exactly who to torture in order to find you. Mobster. I fake cough into my hand. Talia grins, shaking her head at me. Thanks, I tell her, not quite sure whether to be relieved or not. I don't even want to think about something awful like that happening. Anna says. Then she brightens. Hey, do y'all want a cupcake? I brought home some leftovers from my shift tonight. Is that really even a question? I ask. Yeah. And why are you just now mentioning this? Talia demands. She jumps up and disappears into the kitchen. Anna laughs, grabbing my glass, while mumbling about a refill, and follows Talia. Alone, I pull my knees up to my chest, thinking about my run-in with Cash earlier. My mind plays back our conversation, and I'm so lost in it I jump when a drink appears in front of my face. I take it and look up as Anna plops down beside me. She sets a plate of cupcakes between us and grabs one, then goes to work licking the frosting off the top. So, what's his name anyway? She asks. Cash. And you're sure he's not a serial killer? I'm 99% sure he doesn't want to kill me, I tell her honestly, and then take another drink to hide the heat in my cheeks. Kill? No. Spank? Hell yes. Talia snorts as she drops back down on the other side of me with her own cupcake. What? I ask. Nothing. I mean, that's about as sure as you can be concerning any guy on this campus, she points out. Anna's eyes widen. That's terrible. No, what's terrible is that it's true, Talia says. Think about your new boy toy. How much do you really know about him anyway? I know he doesn't want to kill me, Anna protests. But are you 100% sure? Talia lifts a brow dramatically. I giggle. Anna turns to look at me with wide eyes, so I shove half a cupcake into my mouth to keep from laughing. Well played, Talia says to me. Anna turns to her. Y'all are evil. Talia laughs, but it's quickly cut off by her shoving a cupcake into her own mouth. Our eyes meet, and we both laugh so hard that I struggle to keep from choking on my dessert. Whatever, Anna says, pouting. All I know is he's going to look fine as heck in his little waiter outfit tomorrow. Talia stops laughing, her eyes gleaming now. We're going to make so much damn money tomorrow. Then next month I'm going to make my father sit through a stupid financial meeting of my own making. I chuckle but groan when I remember the fundraiser. Ugh, guys, I totally forgot about that. I glance down at my phone, then groan again. It's after 2. I can't possibly get up in time. Oh, you're getting up, Talia says. Her expression morphs into the same hard-ass bossy one she always wears when money's involved. And you're going to wear that skimpy outfit we put in your closet and shake that moneymaker for me, like you promised. I bat my lashes at her. Wow, you really know how to make a working girl feel classy, pimp daddy. Pimpin' ain't easy, she says, waving her hands around like a rapper. Anna and I dissolve into laughter. Finally, when all the midnight kisses have been consumed, I stumble to bed. Stripping down to my panties, I crawl underneath the covers, clutching my phone. Through half-open eyes, I manage to set an alarm for the morning. Then, out of curiosity, I check my Instagram account one last time. More followers gone. Doggy balls. The comments are even worse than before. Is she for real? Werewolf proof. I can't even with this. The Girl Who Cried Werewolf is my new favorite internet drama. Raving Romy. With a sigh, I chuck the phone on the nightstand, newly determined in my drunken state. Damn it, I will prove to the world I'm not crazy if it's the last thing I do. And despite what I told the girls earlier, considering Cash's propensity for murder, maybe. Chapter 6. A few short hours later, I glare at the ridiculous outfit I found hanging in my closet. Calling it an outfit is being extremely generous. In fact, looking at the slip of fabric in my hands, the memory of Talia referring to it as an outfit last night feels like an outright lie. The hot pink sequined booty shorts are, unfortunately, the least embarrassing part of this getup because the accompanying bikini top is shaped like 2 sparkly cupcakes. Even the heels appear to be made up of what look like tiny cream puffs stacked on top of each other. I slip into the offending costume, then groan at my reflection. What the hell did I agree to? While I look for a cover-up, I contemplate murdering Talia and Anna for tricking me into this. The sneaky whores left when it was barely light outside, claiming they had to get a head start on the baking and would see me there. It may have been true, but it was also part of Talia's evil plan to leave me surprised and alone, so I couldn't back out until it was too late. She was going to make a great mob boss. Muttering curses as I put on my makeup, I do my best to erase the effects of our midnight kisses ritual before hurrying to my car. The street lining Greek Row is an absolute madhouse when I arrive, and I wind up having to park several blocks away. I glare down at my stupid uniform, peeking out from my cover-up one last time before hoofing it to the Kappa house. It's an unusually warm day, but I still worry about the likelihood of me freezing my lady bits off. As I get closer to the Kappa house, I can finally see Anna's just desserts truck. The mint green and peach truck is swarmed by people, but the window is closed, letting me know they haven't started serving yet. Head down, I adjust my cover up before skirting around the crowd to climb the stairs to Kappa's house. I stand beside the plaque labeled Kappa Alpha Tau and bang on the door. Talia answers, and the crowd lets out a deafening roar when they see her. She smiles her broadest smile and waves at them like some sort of sequestered celebrity. 3 minutes, she screams to the crowd before ushering me in and quickly slamming the door. I can still hear the chants of the people waiting outside, and my eyes narrow when I take in what Talia is wearing. What the hell, Talia? Why am I in a fucking cupcake bikini if you're wearing that? I gesture to her black leather pants, black muscle tank, and mint green bandana aggressively. If I wasn't so pissed, I'd be awed by how badass and beautiful she looks. Talia tries and fails to hide her smile. Perks of being management. Oh good, you're here. I was so worried you were gonna bail, Anna says, joining us in the hallway. Fuck my life. She's dressed in a cute peach dress, with her favorite cupcake heels and matching apron. Itty too, brute? I ask, my shoulders slumping in defeat. Anna has the decency to look ashamed, but Talia just rolls her eyes. Quit being so dramatic. We're not working the crowd like you are. Anna's baking, and I'm helping her in the truck. It would break a million health codes for us to be dressed in a cupcake bikini. Besides, it's not like you'll be the only one dressed like that. She turns me around to face the sunken living room, and I choke on my laughter. Not only are all of their sorority sisters dressed in varying shades of the same horrible cupcake bikini as I am, but the deltas are all there as well. Their toned bodies are on full display in different colors of sparkly booty shorts with matching bow ties. They look like sexy man sprinkles, and I suddenly understand what the ravenous crowd is really hungry for. Talia is an evil genius. Romy, a big voice booms. I look up to see Brody striding across the room with a massive grin on his face. He's wearing sparkly booty shorts just like the rest of the guys, and I avert my eyes, but it's too late. I've seen too much. Take it off, girl. If we have to show the goodies, so do you, he says, gesturing to my cover-up. I roll my eyes at him and cross my arms firmly over my chest. Nothing and no one is going to get me out of this cover-up. Ah, come on, Romy. Don't be a party pooper. A familiar deep timbre shouts. My eyes scan the room, stopping when they land on the only delta I consider a friend, Justice. His bright blue eyes stand out in stark contrast to his caramel skin and inky black hair. All of the deltas are handsome in their own way, but Justice has always been my favorite. I even had a brief crush on him freshman year before I decided he was too beautiful for me. If he were a girl, he'd be so beautiful you couldn't help but hate him. Still, he's funny and definitely the least douchey of the bunch, so we frequently wound up hanging out at Delta Kappa mixer events. Today, his mocha-colored skin stands out in stark contrast to the turquoise booty shorts and matching bow tie he's wearing. He wiggles his brow, making his pecs dance, and I lose it. Don't hate me 'cause you ain't me, he quips, adding a pelvis roll to his ridiculous seduction dance. Brody laughs as more of the deltas join in with their own peacocking. Cupping his hands around his mouth, he begins chanting, "Take it off! Take it off! Take it off!" Soon the entire room has joined in. Anna giggles uncontrollably, and even Talia has to bite her lip to keep from laughing. Let's see it, Romy. Justice fist pumps, cheering me on. Beside him, Derek, the self-proclaimed beer pong champion of the East Coast, wiggles his eyebrows. Justice is cute with his flirting, Derek not so much. I shoot them one last withering glare before ripping my cover-up off and throwing it on the ground. Wolf howls erupt, and I shake my head, laughing at the absurdity of it all. Brody picks up Anna and twirls her in a circle before dragging her body down his until she lands on her feet again. He wiggles his eyebrows at her. "See anything you like, baby?" he asks, and Anna blushes, ducking her head under his chin. Talia catches my eye and makes a gagging motion before turning to the room and getting everyone's attention. "All right, you guys, it's showtime. Get out there and shake what the good Lord gave ya. It's time to make mama some money," she shouts, shimmying her shoulders before turning on her heel and throwing open the door. The crowd goes wild as she drags Anna out the door. "Welcome to Kappa. I hope you're all hungry. Katie is where the goodies are at," she screams, The crowd roars, and she grins before motioning for us to join her. Anna quickly steps to her side, eliciting another roar from the crowd as the two of them descend into the madness, heading for Anna's truck. Shall we? Brody asks me, holding out his elbow. I snort. I guess we shall. I'm pretty sure this is what hell feels like. My arms are sore from carrying massive trays of cupcakes above my head, and I have to admit that I'm pretty mad about it. I thought all those late nights holding my book above my head in order to read in bed would have given me better upper arm strength than this. To make matters worse, I have frosting in places no person should ever have. Frosting. It's even in my hair, which is why my long auburn locks are now piled in a messy bun on top of my head. And as if that doesn't sound like the seventh ring of hell, my stomach is sticky. Why is my stomach sticky? Oh yeah, yet another delightful detail that Talia neglected to tell me. $5 whipped cream body shots. My stomach has been licked by so many tongues today that I'm starting to feel like a cat. Hey Romy, how you holding up? Need to borrow my muscles for anything? I'm sure Anna won't mind. I look up, startled by the sudden appearance of Brody. His sparkly booty shorts twinkle thanks to the sunlight beating down on us both. If he's uncomfortable, he doesn't show it. In fact, all of the deltas seem fine strutting around in what basically amounts to bikini bottoms. The female customers don't mind it either. What does that mean? I ask, pointing to the swirling tribal tattoo that wraps around his left ribs. I've noticed a lot of your frat brothers have that same design. It's just a delta thing. He shrugs before mock whispering behind the back of his hand, and the ladies love it. I wrinkle my nose, stifling my retort in an attempt to be nice to him for Anna's sake. Cool. Hey, would you mind covering for me? I need to take a breather, I say, motioning over my shoulder to the brake area set up behind Anna's truck. Sure, he says, throwing his arm over my shoulder and pulling me into his side. I gotta keep my baby happy by looking out for her friends. You better not be trying to move in on my best girl. Don't you best girl me, you traitor, I tell Justice before stepping into his embrace. Why is your stomach sticky? He asks, his nose crinkled in disgust. I swear to God, if you tell me that you haven't been forced to allow strangers to lick your stomach for $5 like some cheap hooker, we're never speaking again. Quit messing with her, Brody says, punching Justice lightly in the ribs before tucking me back into his side. She looks like she's contemplating how to castrate you. Justice isn't fazed by my death glare. He reaches forward, ruffling my hair. Don't worry your pretty little head, girl. I've got a slot as shop bitch this afternoon. The next time you see him, be careful with those hugs. You guys may get stuck together. Brody chuckles before continuing, but I don't hear a word he says, because my pulse spikes in a way that can only mean one thing. Cash is near. My body's ridiculously aware of him, and it thrums now, pulling my gaze across the crowd. Sure enough, a second later, I spot him leaning casually against a tree on the far edge of the courtyard. Thanks for covering for me, I mutter to Brody. I'll see you guys later. Okay, I ask, not waiting for either of them to respond before I slip out from under Brody's arm. I hurriedly weave my way through the crowd, afraid Cash will disappear if I take too long, but he stays where he is. When I get close, he straightens, his arms crossed over his chest as he watches me. His eyes blaze, but I'm surprised to see hunger in their depths instead of the usual irritation. If it were anyone else, I'd call it lust. But that can't be right. Stalking is illegal. You know that, right? I say by way of greeting. Smirk, letting him know that I'm kidding, but he doesn't acknowledge my joke. Instead, his gaze rakes over my body, leaving a trail of fire in its wake. He steps closer until his hard chest is nearly brushing my cupcake-clad boobs, and his nostrils flare. His gaze lifts to something over my head, and he growls so low I'm not sure if I imagined it. You didn't tell me you have a boyfriend, Pepper, he says, stepping back and crossing his arms over his chest once more. I don't, I say, but he doesn't answer. His gaze is still settled over my head, so I turn, following his line of sight. Justice is nowhere to be seen, but Brody is watching us. He stares back, his body tense as though he's worried about me, and I soften a little. Maybe Talia and I were wrong about him. Cash growls again, and I snap my attention back to him, my eyes widening in disbelief. I grab his arm, dragging him through the crowd and behind the truck. For a bit of privacy. I don't need an overgrown dog pissing on me like I'm his favorite fire hydrant in front of everyone. Brody is my roommate's boyfriend, but you're really cute when you're jealous. I say, trying to loosen the tension. I'm not jealous, he grumbles. Whatever you say. I sigh. Why are you here, Cash? I thought you told me. Your world wasn't for me. I say, mimicking his deep voice. That seems to snap him out of whatever is going on inside his head. His eyes look sad, and I clench my fists against the urge to smooth the wrinkle between them. You're right, Pepper. My world isn't for you, he says, reaching his hand up to brush a wayward strand of my hair behind my ear before trailing his fingers down my cheek. I meant what I said, but watching you in that ridiculous cupcake bikini. He stops, drawing a ragged breath. I sure as hell wanted to break all the rules and take a bite. My heart thunders in my chest. Everything in me clenches at his husky words, at his soft touch. He takes a deep breath, then groans as he steps closer, his hand fitting perfectly into the dip of my waist. His body is tense and his eyes glow slightly. I shiver, but whether it's from the feel of his skin against so much of my own or the knowledge that his wolf is so close to the surface, I'm not sure. The scent of your desire is killing me, Pepper. I didn't come here for you. That snaps me out of the haze clouding my mind. My temper spikes and I step out of his hold. Then what are you here for? I spit out through clenched teeth, my eyes darting to the crowd of women. Now who's jealous? Up. He reaches out, drawing a finger down my cheek. Your anger is cute as hell, Pepper. But I didn't mean it like that. I'm here taking care of something personal. I don't know why I keep finding myself thrown in your path, but nothing has changed. I don't have time for this. He gestures between our chests. I glare at him. You're the one who showed up here acting like someone had stolen your favorite chew toy, so don't give me some bullshit lecture about what you have time for. He chuckles. That was a solid dog burn, Pepper. He sighs, his dark mood back. He would have liked you, he murmurs. Who would have? His eyes meet mine, and for the first time I see the pain he keeps hidden within them. My father. Actually, they both would have liked you. I frown, confused as I realize he's speaking about his father in past tense, as if he's no longer here, and someone else. His mother, perhaps? My heart twinges with an all too familiar pain. I open my mouth to ask, and to offer my sympathies, but I don't get that far. Is this guy bothering you, Romy? I jump and Cash stiffens, our intimate moment shattered as Brody strides over. He throws an arm around my shoulders, glaring at Cash. Nice shorts, Cash says with a disgusted look at Brody's sparkly mankini. Brody's eyes narrow. I push out from under Brody's arm for the second time that day and stand in between them. I'm fine, I tell Brody. Just talking to a friend. The word feels strange in my mouth, especially considering none of my interactions with Cash have technically been what you would call friendly. But I don't need a babysitter or a savior. At my words, Brody breaks his staring contest with Cash and looks down at me with a timid smile. Sorry, Romy. From where I stood, it seemed like you were upset. I'll happily kick this loser's ass if you need me to. These aren't vanity muscles, he says, flexing his guns. I snort, trying hard not to roll my eyes. I'm sure. Thanks though, Brody. Why? Don't you just go check on Anna? She doesn't always take the best care of herself when she's working the truck. I bet she hasn't eaten all day. He hesitates like he's unsure if he should leave me, but eventually his concern for Anna wins out. I'll leave the door open. If you need me, just shout, Brody says to me before turning and jogging up to the truck door. I breathe out a sigh of relief but tense once again when I take in Cash's posture. His eyes are glowing as he stares at where Brody disappeared inside the truck, and I smack his chest to get him to snap out of it. Hey, earth to Cash. His gaze swings back to me. How well do you know Jackass over there? I shrug. Not well, I guess. I've seen him around at parties and stuff since I started school here, but today was my first time having any real conversations with him. I told you he just started dating my friend Anna. Cash doesn't answer. Why? I press. Promise me you'll be careful, he says, stepping close again. I know I told you that my world isn't safe for you, but I'm beginning to realize your world isn't always safe either. I think of the two missing girls and deflate a little. That's an unfortunate reality of being a woman no matter what world you live in. I'll try, I tell him, breathless at our closeness. He leans in and presses a kiss to my forehead that sends a tingle straight to my toes. I guess it's your turn to stalk me next, he says with a smirk. I knew you were stalking me. He chuckles, shaking his head at me. I gotta go, Pepper. I bite my lip and nod, afraid to say something that will break this weird truce we seem to have today. He kisses my temple one last time before turning and walking back towards the crowd. I glance away, sadness welling inside of me. Pepper. My head snaps up at the sound of his voice. A flash blinds me and I blink the white spots away in time to see him holding up my old red phone. That one's getting framed, he shouts as he melts into the crowd. It isn't until he's vanished completely that I realize he's just taken another photo of me. And once again I failed to take any of him. A smile curves my lips as another thought occurs to me, and I kick myself for not thinking of it sooner. He said it's my turn to stalk him? Game on. I know just how to track him. Chapter 7. I finish my makeup with a swipe of lip gloss and deem myself camera ready before powering up my laptop. Then I cringe as I check the messages and DMs on my Instagram page. The Girl Who Cried Werewolf is officially trending. There are a few people who are defending me, but the vast majority of comments are from the worst internet trolls known to man. I blow out a breath briefly, considering turning off commenting for the account before deciding against it. I'm just going to have to ride out this storm. Time to give them an update and turn this train wreck around. Mustering confidence, I hit the button for live, paste on a smile and wait for the video to begin streaming. Hey book booze. Romy reads romance here with an update on #book. Boyfriends are real. As all of you know, I've been trying to get my hands on proof that werewolves do in fact exist. Unfortunately, things have gotten a little complicated. The werewolf I saw is every bit as delicious as we'd hoped, but he's also craftier than I gave him credit for. From stealing my phone to flustering me so thoroughly that I miss my chance, the proof always seems to just slip through my fingers. But don't worry, I'm not giving up. Every book nerd knows that werewolves travel in a pack. If I can't get proof of this particular werewolf, it's time to move on to another. Today I'm heading out to do some research before my next recon mission. Wish me luck and don't forget, #book boyfriends are real. I blow my camera a kiss before ending the video and let out a sigh of relief. Normally I chat with a couple of live viewers, but today I'm too afraid to even look at the comments while streaming. This is a mess. But if becoming an influencer has taught me anything about social media, the only thing worse than powering through this campaign I've created would be backtracking. There's no way I'd survive the backlash if I retracted my claim. Now, unfortunately, moving forward isn't going much better. Proving werewolves are real was supposed to build my following. Instead, I'm losing them faster than Talia loses her pants after her 5th midnight kiss. Yesterday during the fundraiser, I'd been so caught up in cash that I hadn't even thought about trying to get proof he was a werewolf. That wasn't good. When he was near, my body took over and my mind took a back seat. That left me with only one option. If I couldn't prove Cash was a werewolf, I'd just have to prove someone else was. Someone I didn't know. Someone I didn't have a distracting attraction to. Which brought me to today's excursion. I need to know more about werewolves and their lore if I'm ever going to find another target. I pull up the website for my favorite bookstore and quickly text myself the address. I'm shit with directions, and even though I've been there multiple times, I always take a wrong turn without my GPS. Not today, Satan. Mama has shit to do and werewolves to catch. I refuse to be thwarted by a wrong turn. A mischievous grin pulls at my face as I pull up the next website. Cash had said it was my turn to stalk him, and that's just what I plan to do. I may not be able to prove he's a werewolf, but that doesn't mean he can't help lead me to my next target. As the Find My Phone search calculates my device's location, I send a silent thanks to Talia for insisting I turn on that particular feature. When the location pops up on my laptop, I let out a victory whoop and break out my signature victory dance. Luck is on my side. Not only were they able to find my phone, but it also happens to be in the same area of town as the bookstore. I open another tab and search the address, surprised to see that my phone is at a Stop and Shop. Shit. I curse as another thought occurs to me. Can I make it there before he leaves? I hurry to throw on my shoes and spot my purse on a chair under last night's clothes. Snatching it on my way out, I hurry down the hall as quietly as possible. Snagging my keys from the table near the door, I slip out breathing out a sigh of relief as I jog down the stairs. I hurry to my car, tossing my bag in the passenger seat as I slide in. Time to break about a million traffic laws. I'm panting by the time I park and hurry into the rundown grocery store. Cashier scans cigarettes for an older man riding in one of those motorized scooter carts. Behind them, racks of discount snacks are advertised by faded yellow sale signs. One of them has been graffitied with what looks like either a cucumber or a strategic part of the male anatomy. As grocery stores go, this one's got a serious shady vibe. I slow long enough to grab a cart for blending purposes, then hightail it through the aisles, searching. Besides rows of nearly expired canned goods, the aisles are empty. No customers. No werewolves. No cash. Maybe I'm too late. I've done almost a full lap when I hear a familiar deep voice coming from the next aisle over. Customer just left. Come on already. Cash sounds annoyed but not murderous. Still, it's early yet. I leave the cart and creep to the end of the row, holding my breath as I peer around the corner and into the next aisle. Cash stands with his back to me. Facing him is his friend Lynch, the one who threw him that party and apparently has a thing for kindergarten decor. Relax. I'm almost done, Lynch says, then goes back to perusing the cookie choices. Cash looks irritable as usual and darts glances toward the front of the store. His friend holds a basket already half full of sugary treats. I zero in on the Oreos, then glance back up only to freeze when I notice Lynch staring back at me. Shit. He cocks his head, a gleam lighting in his green eyes. So far, Cash hasn't noticed me, and I bite my lip, hoping his friend isn't about to out me before I can make my move. Then again, now that I'm here, I have zero expectations of being able to actually sneak up on Cash successfully. I'm going to head up front and do what we came to do, Cash says, impatience lacing his words. Sure, you go. I'll be right there, Lynch calls after him. His gaze never wavers from mine. Neither of us move as Cash marches out of the aisle. A moment later, someone lets out a yelp. I jump. Lynch grins and walks casually toward me. Cookie. He holds out his basket. I shake my head. No thanks. Suit yourself. He reaches down and plucks out a cookie, then stuffs it into his mouth. Delicious. You're Cash's friend, I say. From the party. Lynch. He brushes his hand on his jeans, then holds it out. Romy. I don't move to take it, but he only eyes me with renewed interest. Cash is up front. I didn't come here for Cash. Lie. I see. He winks. Looking for some variety. Up front, someone yelps again, and the sound is followed by a thud. What's he doing up there? I ask. Business. Lynch is so unconcerned it scares me. How do you know Cash? Again. We ran into each other the other night, I say. In Bricktown. You're the bookgrammer. Bookstagrammer. He told you about me. No, but I've seen him stalking your profile. Before this week, I didn't think he knew what Instagram was. For some reason, knowing Cash checked out my feed feels flattering instead of stalky. God, was this what Stockholm Syndrome felt like? Listen, I don't know what's happening between the two of you, but shit's complicated right now for us. Cash is going through some stuff, okay? So just cut him some slack. How do you know he's done anything to warrant slack? He grins. For one thing, it's Cash. And for another, you are stalking him. At the Stop and Shop. I'm only stalking him because he stalked me first. I can see you two have a real healthy relationship. From the other end of the store, a growl sounds echoing through the empty aisles. Lynch doesn't bat an eye. Shouldn't you check on him? I ask. Nah. Boss can take care of himself. I do need some chips to go with these cookies, though. Walk with me. He doesn't wait for an answer before brushing past me and into the next aisle. I hesitate but then hurry to catch up. My choices are either stick with Lynch or become involved in whatever murder Cash is committing. What do you think? Lynch points to the bags of chips. Sour cream and onion. Or Cool Ranch. Garden salsa. He eyes me suspiciously. Okay, smarty pants. Bugles or pretzels? I smirk. Chex Mix. Oh, you're one of those, he says. I put a hand on my hip, my fingers inching toward my phone. You mean human? Instead of werewolf. If I can hit record and get him to say something. I was going to say salty instead of sweet. But sure. His demeanor's relaxed, his words casual. Like it's not even weird to be standing here in a ghetto grocery store, chatting about supernatural creatures. Over snack choices. It makes me kind of like him, but I refuse to let myself get sidetracked. Lynch is way chattier than Cash. How did you become a werewolf? Were you born this way or did you get bitten? He grabs a bag of Doritos and glances over at me, brows lifted. I go still. Under the weight of his gaze, my phone just out of reach. You got a lot of questions, you know? Bet Cash hates that. He doesn't mind it. I lie, chin rising. Lynch laughs. Yeah, right. Like he doesn't mind ass chafing. I shake my head, deciding it's better left unasked. Well, how did you become a werewolf? I repeat. Damn. There is no way I can press record without him noticing. If you must know, he says as a crash sounds somewhere else in the store. Lynch continues like he hasn't heard a thing. It was Lady Gaga style. What does that mean? He leans in, a mischievous smile playing on his mouth. Baby, I was born this way. I roll my eyes. His smartass responses remind me of Talia. Another point in his favor. But no, he's not my friend. He's my muse. My werewolf Wikipedia. My ticket to graduation. Lynch wanders farther down the aisle and I follow, sliding my phone free. While he's not looking, with darting glances I swipe up on my video and press record before Lynch notices. Then I start to fire off another question, but a sudden crash behind me drowns out my words. Business and pleasure don't mix well for Cash, Lynch says almost casually. He nods in the direction of the noise, which is only getting louder and closer. If I were you, I'd make sure not to be here anymore when that ruckus ends. The screams abruptly go silent, and that, more than anything, decides me. Whatever this information can do for my future, I'm not about to become an accessory to murder for either of these lunatics. This conversation isn't over, I say, inching toward the exit that I hope won't be blocked by a dead body or something that will try to eat me. Lynch winks. Darlin', I look forward to it. The path to the doorway is clear, and I nearly make it all the way out before a figure steps in front of me. I pull up short before I can plow right into him and I scowl up at him. I'm trying to walk here. One look at his stormy expression, and I know my ass is busted. What the hell are you doing here, Romy? Oh shit. He used my actual name. Not good. Shopping. His hardened expression darkens even further. I don't see any bags. Well, I was going to get a package of Oreos, but Lynch bought them out, so I shrug, way too cheerful. Guess I'll try someplace else. Bye. I try to skirt around him, but he grabs my arm and spins me to face him. You can't be here, he says, and from this angle I catch sight of the blood staining his shirt. Blood I'm pretty sure wasn't there when I arrived. Glancing toward the empty cashier station, I feel a sense of dread skittering my spine. Where's the cashier? I ask. Alive, he says wryly. I let out the breath I'm holding. Cash glares at me. It's dangerous for you here, Pepper. Go home. I was trying to do that before you detained me, I point out. Movement catches my eye, and we both turn to see Lynch exiting the beer aisle. He carries a six-pack in one hand and an overloaded basket full of snacks in the other. He takes in Cash's expression, and his smile falters. Whoa, this looks like a private conversation. I'm just gonna. He veers off toward the produce. Clean up, will you? We need to move, Cash calls out. I'm on it, boss. Lynch calls before disappearing toward dairy. Cash looks back at me like he's trying to decide what to do with me. You're his boss. Cash hesitates, and I'm almost positive he's not going to answer me. Finally, he shakes his head. Not his boss. I'm his alpha, Pepper. And this is pack business. How did you even find me? A good spy never reveals her secrets. You think this is a game? He asks, an edge in his tone now. Of course not. But it's not like I could have known you'd come in here to practice your WWE moves. He groans. What did you see? I glance down at the blood on his shirt, then quickly away again. Nothing. Help Lynch pick out some snacks. I just heard, destruction, but hey, nothing I didn't already know you were capable of, right? No more stalking, okay? Okay. I hold up my hands in surrender, mostly just concentrating on the fact that he means no more stalking him. He didn't say anything about his friend Lynch. I'm sorry about your parents, he says, shocking me with the subject change. And the fact that he sounds sincere. How did you know about that? I ask. His mouth lifts crookedly. A spy never reveals his secrets. Silence falls between us, and it feels nice. Like we've inadvertently stumbled into a truce. In the distance, sirens wail. Cash's grip on my arm tightens. The peace vanishes, replaced by urgency. Go, he says, practically shoving me toward the door. Now. I don't need to be told a third time. The moment I step into a likely story, my favorite indie bookshop, the tension I've been carrying since this morning melts away. The magical scent of old books mixes with the coffee aroma from the small cafe tucked in the corner of the building, and the combination cleanses my soul. The tension in my shoulders from my encounter with Cash and Lynch melts away now that I'm in my happy place. I wave to the girl at the register before heading into the section for mythology and folklore books. I browse the shelves, selecting anything that mentions werewolves. When I feel like I've got a good variety to start with, I slide down on the carpeted floor and open the first book. It features all the most popular paranormal creatures, but the section on werewolves is painfully small with few details on their origin. I start a no pile and pick up the next book. It's not any better. In no time I've scanned the stack and come up with nothing. For the next hour I make several passes through the shelves, selecting then discarding books. I can't help but compare what little I find to Lynch's explanation. He was born a wolf. I have no idea if that means they all are or if it's just him, and nothing I read helps to confirm or deny his claim. By the time I've exhausted the store's options, my back and butt ache from sitting on the floor for so long. In the end, I decide on only 4 books that look promising and pray that at least one of them will have the information I need. The drive home is short, but my mind feels foggy from trying to process all of the conflicting information I read. Some of the texts mention born werewolves. Others talk about bitten werewolves. Some say they only shift at a full moon. Others insist they can shift whenever they choose. How am I supposed to find another werewolf if nobody can agree on what symptoms I should look for? I need an expert, but after my little run-in today, I'm even more sure Cash is the ask questions rather than give answers type. He's also a killer, I remind myself. But the words have lost their punch. The fact that I find him fascinating rather than terrifying says a lot about me, but I've given up trying to analyze it. Whatever he's doing, I can't believe it's wrong. Maybe if I can corner Lynch alone, he'll tell me more. I pull into my parking spot in front of my apartment building. I let out a frustrated sigh and drop my head to the steering wheel. Today had not gone as planned, but I take a deep breath to center myself and hop out, hurrying to gather my books from the back seat. Unease creeps up the back of my neck, and I jerk upright, scanning the parking lot for anything out of place. I can't see anyone else in the soft halo of the street light, but my stomach knots with nerves. I curse my overactive imagination for letting today's reading get to me. Slamming my door shut, I click the lock on my car doors. The sound reverberates through the silence as I begin my trek across the lot. The feeling of being watched only gets worse, but each time I look behind me, the lot is empty. By the time I reach my front door, I'm panting. My key jiggles awkwardly, but I manage to jam it into the lock and shove open the door. Moving fast, I barge into the space, then slam the door shut behind me. It reverberates loudly. A scream echoes through the apartment and I spin, pressing my back to the door and clutching my chest. I yelp and my bag slips down my arms, falling to the floor with a thump. "What the hell, Romy?" shouts Talia from her place on the counter. She's holding one of the knives from our butcher block in her hand, and I bend over, laughing at the absurdity of the situation. "Holy crap on a cracker. You scared the living daylights out of us," Anna admonishes. "I'm sorry, guys," I finally manage to choke out. I grab my bags off the floor and drop them on the coffee table. "I didn't mean to freak you out. I spent all day at the bookstore, and I think I let my reading get the better of me." I laugh and begin unpacking my books. "What the hell were you reading about?" Talia asks, jumping down from the counter to inspect my haul. "Those don't look like romance novels." "Research," I say, bracing myself for their reactions. Anna picks up one of the books, frowning at the title. "Why on earth would you want to read this stuff, Romy?" Then she narrows her eyes at me. "You're not still trying to out that guy you met, are ya?" I sigh. "No. I'm not going to prove that Cash is a werewolf." "Oh, thank God. I wasn't sure how much more werewolf talk I could handle," Talia declares. I glare at her, snatching my book back from her. "I'm not giving up proving that werewolves are real," I snap. "I'm just giving up proving that he's a Werewolf. My brain doesn't work properly around him, but where there's one werewolf there's more. I just need to figure out how to spot another one safely and get away with the evidence. Talia and Anna groan in unison, but I refuse to back down. It's not like I can take back what I said on social, I said. The hell you can't, Talia argues. Wouldn't that be easier? I'd crash and burn if I did that, I tell her. All I can do is keep going. She scowls. The silence lingers between us as we all stand our ground. Talia tosses her hands up in the air. I give up. Anna grabs Talia's arm and tugs her toward the hall. We're just gonna head to bed. We have to be at Kappa first thing in the morning. We're still meeting up at hallowed grounds though, right? She asks. I rub my hands down my face before answering. I'm just gonna stay up and do a little more reading, but I'll meet you guys there tomorrow. Without a word, Talia turns on her heel and strides from the room. Whoa, what's her deal? I ask. Anna watches her go with a grimace that matches my own, then turns back to me. She's just worried about you. We both are, honey, she says, dropping her voice to a whisper before adding, someone stopped us on campus earlier and asked if we were friends with the girl who cried werewolf. Talia was mad as a hornet. She really let him have it. My throat closes. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to drag you guys into this. I mumble. Anna waves my guilt away. We don't care what people say, sugar. We love you. Talia is just worried the wrong kind of jerk is gonna harass you over it, and she won't be there to help. Just promise me you'll be careful. Okay. I will, I whisper. Anna nods and gives me a hug before heading to bed. When I'm alone, I toss the books aside and lean back, worrying about Talia and Anna and how they're being affected by my crusade. I've read the comments and messages that some of the nastier trolls have posted to my social media, but it never occurred to me that people would bring Talia and Anna into it just for being my friends. As much as the guilt eats me up, I also can't find it in myself to quit. The bullying has only made me more determined to prove those assholes wrong. Take a fortifying breath and dive back into my research. I wake to the high-pitched whining of an emergency alert, and I'm momentarily confused. I'm lying on the floor with a couch cushion under my head and one of Talia's fuzzy blankets over me. I smile at Talia's way of saying she's not mad anymore. I breathe out a sigh of relief as I reach for my phone. The angry siren is still shrieking, and I fumble to shut it off through bleary eyes. When it goes silent, I blink down at the campus alert, stunned. Another girl has gone missing, and the campus police are holding a safety meeting for all interested students. There's an advisory to travel in groups and carry our whistles and mace at all times. I scroll back up, scanning the information about the latest girl to be taken, and my blood turns to ice. She was last seen in our parking lot just before I got home last night. My stomach drops. Suddenly, I'm not so sure that werewolf books had anything to do with what left me feeling so uneasy. Chapter 8. Both hands wrapped around my zombie drink for warmth, I people watch as a few customers wait for their orders from the barista. The coffee shop is nearly empty, which is strange. Hallowed Grounds is always packed this time of day. The lack of a crowd is offset by the campus police wandering by outside the front windows. They've begun patrolling on foot as well as extra units driving the campus loop, according to the alert I received this morning. The atmosphere in here and outside is tense. My phone beeps and I look down at the Instagram notification with a nod in my stomach. The Girl Who Cried Werewolf hashtag is not only trending, but it's gained a spoof account on both Instagram and Twitter, complete with memes. The haters are in rare form. On top of that, my follower count has dropped dramatically. This rate, I'm not only not going to ace my final, I'm going to fail it miserably. I do another quick scan of the place and spot Brody in the corner. He's talking to a woman whose exposed skin is nearly covered in swirling tattoos. Her raven-colored hair is long on top but shaved underneath in a punk sort of style, and her lip is pierced. She looks confident with an edge of sassy, the opposite of Anna. Not exactly Brody's type. I'm debating whether to go over and insert myself into the conversation, sort of like he did to me yesterday, when a sudden howl splits the air and sends my thoughts scattering. My gaze snaps to the table next to me, zeroing in on the guy with his head tipped back, a keening howl ripping from his throat. The other two people at the table, both of whom I've seen around campus, are snickering and glancing at me throughout the spectacle. Everyone else in the cafe has stopped talking to stare at the guy When he finally falls silent, he lowers his head and looks straight at me. His grin is mocking as he says, "You can take a picture if you want. Tell everyone. You've spotted a werewolf at the coffee shop." He winks and his friends laugh harder. I glare at him, but before I can formulate a response, Talia appears behind him, smacking the back of his head. "Ow!" He turns, rubbing the place where she hit him, his expression accusing. But Talia just glowers at him. "Shut your mouth, Greg. Before I shut it for you." Greg looks like he wants to respond, but one look at Talia's expression and he ducks his head, muttering to himself. "Damn Talia, he looks like the kid who just left the principal's office." I tell her as she shoves me aside and slides into the booth. "He howls again and he'll be in the clinic," she says darkly. I've never seen Talia fight before, but I have zero doubt she can back up her claim. Apparently Greg agrees because a second later he and his friends get up and leave. Anna comes in just as they exit. She frowns, glancing back at them as she slides in across from me and Talia. "Why on earth does Greg from my economics class sound like he wants to go home and journal a hit list with you two at the tippy top of it?" she asks. Talia snorts. I dare him to try. My brows shoot upward. "Let me guess, you have a hitman on speed dial." Greg doesn't. Anna grins. Talia sighs. "Guys, I am not a mobster." "Right," Anna says, disbelief coating the word. Talia levels a look at her. "You're telling me you think I'm capable of murder? And you're still friends with me?" "No, we think you're capable of telling other people to commit murder." Correct. "And you're okay with that?" Talia asks. "Okay with it?" I snort. "Why do you think we're friends with you?" Anna laughs. Talia's lips twitch, but the smile never quite appears before she just shrugs and says, "Fair enough." "Was Greg both airing you?" Anna asks, pinning me with a suddenly sympathetic look. "It's nothing I can't handle," I assure them. Neither argue, though Anna gives me a dubious once-over before they both slip away to place their orders. I roll my eyes, then go back to checking my DMs and setting up what few advertising spots are being offered anymore. My sponsorships are way down. If they keep dropping like this, I won't have two ramen packets to rub together. Shit, that would be a shame. I really love ramen. When the girls return with their coffees, Brody trails behind Anna, then slides into the booth next to her. His mystery friend from earlier is gone, and I debate whether to call him out on it in front of Anna. "You ladies have any big plans for the weekend?" Brody asks. He's holding an energy drink that sports a tagline claiming big energy and big gains along the side of the bottle. I fight the urge to roll my eyes as Anna says, "I don't know. With the curfew and everything else, it might be safer to just stay in." "Ah, come on. I just heard about a new place that just opened up in Bricktown, called Risque." "I did hear the music is great," Talia agrees reluctantly. As much as Talia loves to dance, I can tell she's trying not to pressure Anna. But Brody tilts his head and nudges Anna playfully. "Come on, baby," he coaxes. "It'll be fun. Tell you what, I'll escort you. Lovely ladies there and back. So you have nothing to worry about." Anna bites her lip. Talia's uncertainty turns to a glimmer of excitement. "I could use a night to let loose," she says. Anna glances at me. I shrug. For once, I'm not averse to the idea of peopling. I could use the chance to blow off some steam too. "Let's dance." Anna nods at Brody, a shy smile curving her mouth. "All right, you're hired." "Yeah." Brody pumps his fist. My first stint as a bodyguard, and I get not one but 3 banging bodies to guard. This is going to be epic. I managed to get through a full day of classes without any more howlers trying to start shit. But I'm still no closer to discovering any werewolves outside of Cash's pack, nor do I have any idea how to find them. After my run-in with Cash and Lynch at the grocery store, I don't have it in me to out someone in his pack. Damn Lynch. He charmed me. The books I bought are, in the end, no help either. And to make it worse, I find myself missing Cash. Not because he's a werewolf, but because he's have no idea what he is except hot and completely infuriating. The only bright spot is our girls' night, even if it includes Brody. "It's been too long since we went dancin'," Anna declares the moment I let myself into the apartment. Music pulses around me, and Anna hands me a bright red cocktail. "What's this?" I ask, taking it and sipping before she can answer. "It's called Devilish. It's a dessert drink that needs some human testing," she says. It's delicious, I say, gulping more liberally. And it lies like the devil. There are 2 different kinds of tequila in. There, honey. Watch out. She pivots on her heel with her hair spinning out behind her as she marches back to the kitchen island and retrieves her own drink. Where's Talia? I ask. Finishing up a call with her dad, Anna says, pointing to Talia's closed bedroom door. I grimace. Good thing we're drinking and dancing tonight. I'm gonna go get dressed. Brody will be here in about an hour. She disappears into her room, and I head for my own drink in hand. Talia's not the only one who needs to let loose tonight. An entire evening. Pretending my problems don't exist sounds like exactly what I need. An hour later I'm dressed and nearly ready, leaning over to trace eyeliner. Over my lids I hear a knock on the front door. Got it, Anna calls. A moment later, Brody's voice booms all the way down the hall to where I stand, in the bathroom huddled over the sink to get closer to the mirror. I hear Anna offer him a drink before hurrying back to grab her shoes and purse. Heavy footsteps make their way closer. In the reflection of the mirror, I see Brody stop at the open bathroom door eyeing me. Hey Brody, what's up? I ask warily. I was curious. Since I'm supposed to be your bodyguard and all, is that creep still hanging around? I wrinkle my brow, confused at his statement. What creep? You know, Cash. I frown, trying to remember if I ever said Cash's name during Brody's display of toxic masculinity. I'm almost certain I didn't. Not that it's any of your business, but no. Good. Brody turns for the door. Is your human canvas joining us tonight? I ask before he can disappear. This time Brody's brows wrinkle in confusion. Who? That pretty brunette with all the tats. Oh. Something unreadable flashes in his eyes before his expression quickly shudders. No, his one-word answer makes it clear that subject is closed. Two can play at this game. Brody turns and disappears back down the hall. I listen as he talks Talia into taking a shot while they wait for Anna and me to finish up. Finally, everyone's ready, and we all toast the night with what's left of the devilish drinks. Then we're out the door. The line for risque is wrapped around the building by the time we arrive, but Talia bypasses it and marches straight up to the bouncer working the door. Name, he says flatly. Talia DuPont. The bouncer doesn't even glance at the list before waving us through. Go ahead. I shake my head, never quite able to get over her heiress status. We all hurry past and shove through the doors into the warmth of the club. The moment I step inside, my senses prickle with the change in atmosphere. Music pulses and pumps through giant speakers, the bass hard enough to vibrate in my chest. The faint scent of cigars drifts down, and I look up to see VIP boxes overlooking the entire first floor. Shadowy faces watch over the crowd, tokeing on cigars and sipping on snifters. On my right is a circular bar with an LED lit countertop that flashes from blue to pink to green and back to blue again. On my left, small tables and booths offer a more private experience. Straight ahead, marked by 2 LED lit pillars, is the dance floor. The floor is lit with blue lights that pulse in time to the music. The colors are fun, and something in me itches to move along with them. Anna squeals, but the sound is nearly drowned out by the speakers. She grabs my wrist in one hand and Talia's wrist in the other and drags us toward the bar. Not that much convincing is required. This place is amazing. Classy, Talia comments when we have our drinks. She turns and leans on the bar, her eyes on the dance floor. Already her shoulders are twitching in time to the music. We drink fast, then head for the dance floor. For the next couple of hours it's a routine. We dance until we're ready to drop, then regroup at the bar for refreshments. The playlist is a fun mixture of old and new, and the drinks are strong. My head buzzes with the effects of the alcohol, but I don't mind it. Finally, the stress has lifted. I begin to feel looser, less concerned with my mission or my haters. Talia's smile is bright as she sets her empty glass on the bar and once again tugs me toward the dance floor. I need more time, I groan. My feet ache in the heels I'm wearing, and even Anna looks wiped. Brody stands just behind where she's perched on a bar stool, his gaze sweeping the room. He's been watchful all night, surprising me with the fact that for once he's not pounding drinks like it's his life's mission to get wasted as fast as possible. His posture is relaxed but alert, almost like he's looking for something. Fine. Quitters. Talia sighs, dropping my arm. I don't need you. Not when. That hottie over there keeps winking at me. I'll see you broads later. She pushes off the bar, her long legs carrying her to where a tall, handsome stranger waits, smiling over the rim of his drink. A figure slides into the space Talia just vacated, and I frown at the sight of the newcomer. His scruffy, flushed face is overly relaxed. His eyes are glassy, to the point of unseeing, but he grins at me, leaning in too close as he slurs. You're her, aren't you? That werewolf chick. Oh shit. Babe, come here. Check this out. He waves a girl over, and she stumbles, only barely managing to catch herself before she almost plows into Anna. Brody reaches out a hand to steady her, but I don't dare look back at him. Or her. My body tenses as the girl's unfocused eyes widen. Holy shit. The girl who cried werewolf is here. The girl makes a face that's somewhere between excited and mocking. The guy beside her sneers, no trace of excitement. Looking for something hairy and huge. I got what you need right here. He grabs his crotch and my stomach clenches at the vulgar gesture. Maybe the girl who cried werewolf. Could be the girl who cried my name. You, Donnie. The girl beside him laughs, then raises her phone and aims it at me. I freeze. Before she can snap the photo, a hand reaches over my shoulder and knocks the phone out of her hands. The girl's eyes widen as she shuffles over to retrieve it. What the fuck do you think you're doing? The guy demands. He glares as Brody steps around Anna and me, crowding the asshole. I'm offering you a chance to carry your sorry ass away from this bar before I haul you out myself. Brody's voice, though barely discernible above the music, is more threatening than I've ever heard. The drunk asshole hesitates, both of them locked in some sort of staring contest. Someone brushes my elbow and I cock my arm back, ready to throw a fist if necessary, but it's only Talia. What the hell's going on? She demands in my ear. The handsome stranger she left to dance with is nowhere in sight. Before I can answer, the drunk guy finally grabs his girl and steps back. Brody only leans in, further crowding the guy. Something passes between them, and the guy abruptly turns and walks away. We're leaving, Brody announces. No one argues. Anna leads the way, and I'm sandwiched between her and Talia, with Brody bringing up the rear as we hurry out into the cold night. Can someone please tell me what the hell just happened? Talia demands. In a wobbly voice, Anna fills her in while we walk to the car. Motherfucker, Talia hisses. She glances over her shoulder. I should have kicked his ass. I'm surprised Brody didn't, Anna admits quietly. Beside me, Brody is utterly silent. His hands are fisted at his sides, and I can feel the slight tremble that I recognize as temper rolling off him in hot waves. Gratitude washes over me, and I reach out a hand to his arm. He glances down at the contact before meeting my eyes. Thank you, I whisper. He nods before turning to open the door for Anna. Relief floods my system as I sink into the back seat, but I don't allow myself to feel it. Not yet. Not when I'm still reeling from what might have happened if Brody hadn't stepped in, or worse, if he hadn't been there at all. Chapter 9. The smell of pancakes wakes me, but mercifully my stomach doesn't revolt. Relieved, I remember the aspirin and 2 glasses of water I chugged before bed. Works every time. Sunlight streams in through the blinds and I roll toward the window, blinking as the events of last night return in a wave of disgust. It's more than threatening. It's embarrassing. Ugh. I groan, not bothering to reach for my phone. I don't even want to know what the internet's saying today. Or maybe ever. Someone knocks lightly on my door. Romy, breakfast, Anna calls softly. I'm not hungry. I wait for her to protest, but she doesn't answer. A moment later I listen to her footsteps shuffle away, leaving me alone. If Anna's given up, I know it's bad. I'm ready to bury my face beneath my pillow and count today as a loss when there's a scratch at my window. I look up in time to see the glass slide open, and a familiar, broad-shouldered body climb easily through. Well, easy, compared to how impossible it would be for any human to scale 2 stories and gracefully enter someone's apartment uninvited. I sit up in an instant. Surprise is followed quickly by horror as I realize where he's about to step. Cash, wait. But it's too late. The moment his boots touch the floor, my booby trap is tripped. In a crazy, way too fast chain of events that involve a broom handle, Talia's stiletto, Anna's bowling ball, and one of my bras, Cash is covered in olive oil. Then cooking flour before I can finish my warning. For a split second I'm shocked that it actually worked. The internet would have been proud. Then I realize I've just coded a bad-tempered werewolf in a breeding that would make Paula Deen proud. Cash stands unmoving and I can only stare, wide-eyed and a little unsure if I've gone too far, as I wait for him to respond to my attack. I don't even know if I should ask, he says finally. Puffs of flour float in the air around him as he breathes and I lose my battle. Side-splitting laughter erupts from me, and I quickly shove my face in my pillow to muffle the sounds. When I finally get myself under control, I slowly lower the pillow inch by inch and take in Cash. Care to explain why I'm breaded like carnival food? His voice is low, but I can't tell if it's because he's angry or trying to breathe around the mouthful of white powder he's just ingested. I bite my tongue in an attempt to keep a straight face. I pause and take a breath to calm myself. Rig the window in case you tried breaking in again. I can see that. He looks down at himself and I have to ball my hands into fists, digging my nails into my skin to keep from laughing again. He looks like a hot dough boy. He clears his throat. I guess I should have called. His voice is dry, brimming with sarcasm. It's all I can do not to choke, but my voice is steady when I respond. Or you could have used the front door like a normal person, I point out. He glances around the room a little lost. Is there a towel or? Oh, sorry. Sure. I jump up and grab my towel from where it hangs on the back of my door, then hold it out. Cash takes it and goes to work wiping his face clean. He doesn't move from where he stands beside the sill, and I appreciate his efforts to keep the mess contained. When he's done all he can do with a towel, he lets it hang limp as he surveys the space. Any other traps I should know about? Not at this time. He grunts, then takes a step and tosses the towel into my dirty laundry bin. I bite my lip as he finally looks over at me. Streaks of white remain in his hair, giving him an older, almost salt and pepper vibe that I have to admit is still pretty hot. His skin is shiny thanks to the oil, but even that isn't a turn off. Mental images of Cash's body slick against mine flash in my head, and I shake them away. Damn, this guy is sexy no matter what I do. It's not fair. His brows dip in confusion. I don't understand. Are you attempting to fry me up or scare me away? I'm using what I have at my disposal, I said, glaring. Haven't you ever seen Home Alone? He shakes his head. I have to admit, using baking material as a deterrent shouldn't be effective for intruders. He pauses to brush more flour from his shirt. Thanks to the layer of oil underneath, the flour simply coats his hand. But it is. Yeah, well, stop breaking and entering and I won't have to do it. No one's breaking anything, Pepper, and as for entering. His gaze travels lazily down my body, taking in my oversized sleep shirt with a grumpy cat on it before lingering on my bare legs. When he looks up at me, ripple of pleasure threatens to buckle my knees at the desire swimming in his dark eyes. He takes a step toward me, then stops, suddenly stiffening. What's wrong? I whisper. He sniffs the air, then drops the smile in favor of a glower. Your apartment has a male scent. So, I ask, my voice rising as I remember this is my house and I don't have to be quiet. So, it didn't the last time I was in here. Last time. I growl in frustration. Do you hear yourself right now? You're comparing the smell to a day you illegally entered my home. Wait, how many times have you been here anyway? He ignores the accusation and the question. It's the same meathead I met at your cupcake party. His name is Brody, I say. He's a friend of Anna's, and he slept on the couch. Cash scowls. I cross my arms. Is there something I can do for you? I thought we were done with the stalking. In fact, I'm pretty sure that you insisted we were. Cash's gaze wanders the room, then zeroes in on my desk against the wall. Light reading. I follow his stare to the stack of werewolf books I've been studying, my copy of Restoration by Randy Cooley Wilson laying on top, and flush with embarrassment. When I look back at Cash, his lips curve in amusement. That's none of your concern, I mutter, arms still crossed, mostly to hide the fact that my nipples have gone hard at the realization that we're both in my bedroom and I'm half naked. Cash inhales again, this time his amusement turning to something else. Something more wild. He steps closer, his voice dropping low. I could give your followers a real show, he drawls. Something a little different than you had in mind, but just as satisfying. My lips press tightly together as his sexy voice suggests the very thing That's kept me awake more nights than this whole werewolf campaign combined. Suddenly, all I can think about is running my hands over his oil-slicked body. My skin tingles and my knees go weak, but I refuse to give in to his taunting. I don't kiss and tell. Unlike some people, I say. Cash's brows lift and he pulls my old phone from his back pocket, holding it up for me to see. You mean this? Trust me, Pepper, the photos I take of you are completely private. I have no intention of sharing. The muscles in my stomach clench at his words. His chest rumbles and he steps closer, pulling me into his arms. I'm so busy being turned on by his touch that I can't bring myself to care about the oil and flour he's rubbing all over me. You smell delicious when you're turned on. My face flames. Stupid werewolf senses. His hand captures my chin, lifting until my eyes meet his. Don't be embarrassed, Pepper. It's damn sexy. I pull my chin from his grip and step back before I can do something stupid, like tackle him onto my bed and try out that thing I read about on page 117 last night. Instead, I take a deep breath, calming myself, and try to get the conversation back on track. What are you doing here, Cash? I'm not sure, he answers. He runs a hand through his messy waves and I'm momentarily distracted by the strip of skin that shows beneath the raised hem of his shirt. It's flower-free and gorgeous. Damn it, Pepper, he curses. You gotta stop looking at me like that. My brows pucker. Like what? A smirk crawls across his face and he says, like you want to eat me. My cheeks heat once more and he chuckles. Maybe I do. I mumble too low for him to hear. His gaze snaps to me and his eyes glow. Oops. I thought it was too low for him to hear. Stupid werewolf hearing. I shift uncomfortably under the intensity of his gaze, and he reluctantly shakes his thoughts away. You want to get out of here? I hesitate, certain I must have heard him wrong. I'm sorry. What? Let's go somewhere. I won't bite. Unless you ask me to, he says, flashing me a crooked smile. I thought you hated me, I blurt out, confused by his sudden change of attitude. He looks at me like I'm crazy and I take a second to think about each of our interactions. Sure, there's always been an undercurrent of attraction thrumming between us, but on the surface, Cash has always made it clear he has no intention of acting on that attraction. Today feels different. He steps closer, breaking me from my thoughts and pulling me into his embrace. I don't hate you, he murmurs, tilting my chin up once more. I like you. More than I probably should. Your courage and sass keep me constantly on my toes. You're sexy as hell and you never do what I expect. It's intriguing as hell. His words leave me stunned and a little hopeful. He sighs like his confession is costing him something. I meant what I said. Though, my world isn't for you. Being alpha means I have a lot of shit to do. And unfortunately, that doesn't include you right now. My heart speeds up then clenches at his declaration. It always seems like he's whispering sweet nothings to me and telling me goodbye at the same time. What do you want from me, Cash? If being here breaks so many of your damn rules, then why come back? I growl, frustrated at the entire situation. His eyes light up, and he smiles like my anger amuses him. Because Pepper, as alpha I make the rules, he says, nuzzling my ear. Go out with me, he whispers against my neck. Why me? I breathe. Why now? You want answers and I want. His unfinished sentence hangs between us. I hold my breath, waiting, hoping, willing him to say it. You. I want you. I want to give them to you, he finishes, and I exhale. Come out with me for the day. I'll tell you what I am. Despite his very platonic offer, he's still standing way too close, his nose brushing over my neck as he nuzzles and teases my skin. My heartbeat roars in my ears, covering up all sensible thoughts my brain might be trying to scream at me, like the fact that him being a werewolf means he has a mate out there somewhere. My throat feels tight with emotion, robbing me of speech. So against my better judgment I nod. Okay, I breathe. Where should we go? I have an idea. But first I'm going to need to take a shower. Why hello there, sexy, I purr. You're not looking so bad yourself, Cash says, his eyes raking over my body in undisguised appreciation. My favorite sweater is belted over my short black dress and paired with thigh-high boots. Very little of me is actually showing, but his gaze burns just as brightly as it did when he saw me in my cupkini. I snort and roll my eyes. Hush, not you. I'm talking to the books, I say. running my finger along the shelves. His mouth drops open and I grin wickedly. His responding chuckle is deep and loud enough to earn him a quiet reprimand from the staff nearby. I breathe in the delicious scent of old books and sigh in contentment. Cash could not have chosen a better spot for our non-date. The Boston Athenaeum, privately owned library, is on the small side, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in grandeur. Rare books are intermingled with beautiful works of art. Statues and sculptures are tucked into every corner. It's a book lover's dream. Come on. There's one over here that you'll love, Cash says, pulling me toward another display. He points to a leather book inside a glass case, and my eyes widen as I read the plaque next to it. It's bound in human skin, I whisper incredulously. That's disgusting. And a little bit awesome, I admit sheepishly. Cash chuckles, leading me away from the grotesquely beautiful book and into one of the 4 reading rooms beyond. I glance around and realize we're alone. It's the weekend, but it's still early, and the library is surprisingly empty. I steal a glance at Cash as he stares at the shelves of books, and the urge to get to know him hits me hard. Not Cash the werewolf, not Cash the alpha, Cash the man. But I'm not sure how to get him to open up to me. Is the full moon the werewolf equivalent of PMS? I ask, plastering on my most sincere face. If I can't get him to talk, maybe I can get him to laugh. Sure enough, Cash's head snaps towards me, and a reluctant chuckle escapes from his lips. No, Pepper. The full moon isn't the werewolf equivalent of PMS. Quite the opposite, actually. We're at our best during a full moon. We're stronger, faster, and even happier, he says. I stare at him in shock. I expected him to brush me off like he's been doing since we met. My mind races with all the questions that burn for an answer, and I hurry to ask another question while he's still being candid. So your body doesn't go crazy demanding you shift on a full moon? I try to ask casually. He rolls his eyes at me, clearly not falling for my feigned interest. No, he says. But even if it did, what does that have to do with PMS? Exactly. I shrug. That's what happens to chicks during PMS. Our bodies become rage monsters. I thought it was a good comparison. He crosses his arms over his chest and shakes his head at me, but I can tell he's trying hard not to smile. Think about it, Pepper. Was it a full moon the first time you saw me? I guess not, I admit, thinking back to that scene in the alley, and the toenail-sized moon I'd noticed just before my entire world had changed forever. It wasn't what you think. My brows knit in confusion. What wasn't what I thought? What you saw that night in the alley. It's not what you think. What was it then? His brows draw together and he hesitates. His eyes swim with some memory and then darken. Retribution, he says finally. I watch, stunned, as anger flashes behind his careful expression. Since when does Cash tell me anything about his personal life without me stalking and aggravating him first? Is today a full moon? I ask suspiciously. Because you're being weirdly nice and it's starting to freak me out. Nice is what freaks you out? He shakes his head. And you think I'm the strange one? I cross my arms. Want to know my least favorite thing about werewolves? He doesn't answer, but his eyes shine with interest, so I tell him. It's a tie between your sense of smell and your heightened hearing, I say, clasping my arms behind my back and rocking on my heels. Both of those things are super annoying. He smirks at me, reaching out for my hand before pulling me up a spiral staircase and deeper into the stacks of books. When we reach the end of the aisle, he cages me in, leaning down to whisper in my ear. Those two are my favorites. His nose brushes against my neck as he talks, and I let out a breathy sigh. That quickly becomes a moan as his tongue darts out to trace the shell of my ear. We also have a superior sense of taste, he says, softly biting the spot where my pulse races before soothing it with his tongue. My breathing becomes ragged, and the sound of my blood rushing through my veins seems too loud, even to my human ears. I fist the front of his shirt, pulling him closer. All out of questions, Pepper? He asks, pressing his forehead against my own. I scowl, irritated at my body's willingness to forget everything when I'm near him. I push against his chest and slip out from under his arms, stalking down the aisle to the next section of books. My heartbeat thunders in my own ears as I struggle to get control back. Quit trying to distract me. It won't work. I huff over my shoulder. Cash follows me, amusement shining in his eyes, and he winks at me. Sure looked like it was working to me. He ducks past into another stack of books. I stand there grinding my teeth, irritated that he's somehow turned the tables again. So instead of chasing after him, I walk right past him and into the next row. He's a wolf, a predator. Let him chase me. I bite my lip, pretending to browse the shelves. My concentration is really on listening for footsteps at my back, but Cash doesn't follow me. Fucking werewolves, I mumble. Now Pepper, you can't condemn all werewolves just because you love to fight with me. Cash's amused voice drifts to me from the other side of the bookshelf. I smile, leaning my back against the shelf he's hiding behind. You should be a better werewolf representative then. I wasn't aware I was the ambassador for my species. I roll my eyes. Are we just going to talk to each other through the books? Then, you sounded like you needed the space. His tone smacks of smugness. Maybe you just don't know what to do with me once you catch me, I counter. He lets out a real laugh, and I'm startled by the sound of it as books move beside my head. I turn, shocked to see Cash peeking between the spines. His intense blue eyes stare at me as a smirk crosses his stupid, gorgeous face. Trust me, Pepper. I know just what to do when I get my hands on you. His grin turns wicked and he whispers, in fact, I plan to have more than just my hands on you before we're through. I shudder as my imagination whirls with all the possibilities. Cash only watches me with those predatory eyes, as if he's enjoying my reaction just as much as the chase. My feet move even before I give them permission, but Cash stops me before I can slip around to where he waits. I know you have questions about what I am, but if I'm going to give you any answers, it's going to be like this. It's the only way I can keep my hands off of you, he says with a growl. My entire body clenches and I grip the bookshelf for support. Cash's eyes darken, and I know the scent of my own desire is undoubtedly filling the space between us. Pepper, he says through clenched teeth. If you don't stop, I'll be forced to rip this entire bookcase down to get to you. His threat only makes my own fantasies worse. I gasp at the images that flitter through my mind. He groans from his side of the bookshelf, and I shake my head, trying to clear the lustful thoughts. Instead, I try to remember all of the things I've been dying to ask Cash. He's offering to give me the answers I so desperately want, and I don't want to waste it. Do you have to be born a werewolf, or are werewolves bitten and turned? Both. A werewolf can either be born to parents who are both shifters or be bitten and turned. His voice is strained but clear, and I know he's still struggling to focus. When you're bitten and turned, it's not like the crazed moments in so many books and movies. It's actually a gentle, extremely private act, normally only done when a shifter falls in love with a human. Which are you? I whisper in a shaky voice. Were you born a werewolf or turned? Both of my parents were shifters. I was born this way, as was the rest of my pack. And do you live forever? He laughs. Not forever. Werewolves age slower than humans. We can live 200 or 300 years easily. 300. I repeat incredulously. How old are you? And please don't say something weird like 87. I don't think I can kiss you again, knowing I'm making out with a pervy old man. He laughs. I'm 28. Phew. What a relief. I want to take a minute to actually digest everything he's telling me, but his answers only lead to more questions. Plow ahead. What does it mean to be alpha? How many people are in your pack? Who's your beta? Please say it isn't pervy Doyle. He snorts. Doyle is definitely not my beta. Lynch then. Very good. How did you get the role? I mean, was it passed down from your dad, or did you have to fight for it? Cash doesn't answer. I peek between the book spines and notice there's something wrong about his expression now. Let me guess. Werewolves hold elections and you're a man of the people. I say, letting him off the hook. Your imagination is boundless, Pepper. Is that a no to the elections? That's a no to the elections. His voice is tight and I wonder if I've hit a nerve. What's the next question? I pause, unsure whether to keep pushing or not. My next question is one that needs to be asked face to face without a bookshelf separating us. I push off from the bookshelf between us and circle around to where Cash waits. Couldn't stay away? He asks with a smirk. When I don't answer, his expression clouds. Hey, he says, raising my chin until our eyes meet. You can ask me anything. I whisper the words that have taunted me for days. What happened to your father? He nods like this is the question he's been expecting, but his body tenses, and he instantly drops his hand from my face. He looks up at the ceiling and lets out a long breath before answering. He was murdered. His eyes are dark as he spits out the horrid truth. I gasp, my hands flying to cover my mouth before wrapping around his too large body. I'm so sorry, Cash, I murmur into his shirt. I shouldn't have asked. His body begins to relax into my embrace, and his breath brushes my hair. It's okay, Pepper. His death still weighs on me, but it also brought you into my life. I stare up at him confused, and he smiles at me with sad eyes. He grabs my hand, pulling me along to the end of the aisle once more before dropping down to the floor with his back against the wall. I stare down at him, my head tilted. He pats the ground next to him. What do I have to do with your father's death? I ask once I'm seated. His head drops back to the wall before he turns it towards me. The night I first saw you, I was looking for answers about my father's killer. Answers, I repeat slowly, and Cash watches me warily like he's waiting to see how I'll react. From the other werewolf in the alley. He nods. I think back to the memory of that night, but for the first time I don't see Cash as a crazed murderer. His admission paints the night in a new light. And I gasp, eyes wide. That other wolf killed your father. I shout a little too loudly. I grimace. And mouth, sorry. No, he didn't, he says, shaking his head. I frown at him, confused. I heard you guys yelling. I heard him say it was me, and then you said something about retribution. I insist. For once, he's the one left looking shocked, and his brows furrow. I can't believe you heard all that. It was a lie. His expression darkens. I see that look in your eyes. Like, you've somehow decided I'm the hero. Don't be so sure I'm not the villain. Lost my temper. I let my anger get the better of me, and I murdered that man. Even though I knew he was lying. Deep down, I knew that finding my father's killer wouldn't be that easy, but I reacted out of anger and fear. I took vengeance against the wrong wolf. He growls, curling his fists in anger, and I can see his guilt eating at him. Hell, I almost did it again at that damned grocery store. Almost lost my shit on that asshole when he wouldn't talk. But you stopped yourself? I ask, remembering the blood on his shirt. Yes, he says, looking tortured despite his answer. I shift onto my knees and turn towards him, grasping his hand and pulling it into my lap. You are not the villain, Cash. I read a lot of books and I can always spot the bad guy. I rush on, desperate to ease some of his guilt. I may not know everything about you, but I know that I trust you. I have since almost the beginning. I've always felt safe with you, and I know that there's a reason. You could have killed me that night to cover your tracks, but you didn't. Your instinct is to protect me. You're not the bad guy, Cash. You can't be. He stares at me for the space of 3 heartbeats, and then his eyes flash with hunger. He grips my waist, pulling me onto his lap, and his mouth crashes against mine. His kisses are hard and punishing, like he doesn't have the control to treat me gently, and I love it. I gasp at the feel of his impressive length along my center, and he uses the opportunity to sweep his tongue across my My body tingles, and I return his kisses with enthusiasm. He groans, pulling away to trail tiny bites and kisses along my neck. You taste so good, he whispers against my skin before making his way back to my mouth. He kisses me more gently this time, his tongue dancing with mine in perfect rhythm. I need more, I moan, and my hands dig into his messy waves as he nips, then soothes the skin along my jaw and neck. I pant, pulling at his hair until his mouth lands on mine again. He growls low in his chest, the vibration making my nipples peak in response, and I grind my ass against him, urgency building. My fingernails rake across his scalp, earning a hiss from him between frenzied kisses. His mouth is everywhere at once, the empty spaces filled with his wandering hands. My senses are overloaded with the taste, smell, and feel of Cash all around me. His hands slide under my dress and cup my ass, pulling me along the hard length of him. Fuck, he mutters the curse against my skin. You're gonna kill me, woman. I shoot him a smirk to rival his own, then gasp as a vibration in his pocket hits all the right spots. Is that a phone in your pocket, or are you just really liking where this is going? His eyes glitter, and he presses a quick kiss to my lips before lifting me enough to retrieve his phone. He strokes down my back as he pulls up the new message distractedly. Shit, he curses. What is it? I ask even though I already think I know. He stands quickly, lifting me easily to my feet then lowering me to the ground. He shoves his phone back into his pocket before leaning down to place a soft kiss below my ear. Playtime's over, he says regretfully. Duty calls.